Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today. We're going to embark on a really fascinating chronological journey, following a hypothetical organization as it takes its very first steps into enterprise architecture. We're going to see exactly how they use the TOGAF standard to take incredibly complex, tangled business needs and transform them into a clear, structured, and manageable reality. If you've ever wondered how the pros turn absolute chaos into order, well, you're in the right place.
Because let's be real, it all starts with one massive question. How do you actually build a cohesive enterprise from the ground up? For teams that are brand new to enterprise architecture, just looking out at this unorganized, sprawling business landscape can feel completely overwhelming. You've got different departments acting like separate countries, speaking entirely different languages, competing technologies, totally disjointed processes, you know the drill. Figuring out exactly where to start is usually the biggest hurdle.
All right, let's dive into this with Act 1, starting your architecture journey. Every massive transformation needs a starting point, an engine to really drive it forward. In that engine, it's the Architecture Development Method, or the ADM. Think of this not as some straight line from start to finish, but as a continuous iterative wheel. It's the beating heart of the TOGAF standard. You kick things off with a preliminary phase at the top, and then you just flow right through the cycle, from architecture vision, through business, information systems, and technology architectures, all the way around to architecture change management. And sitting right there, dead center, touching literally every single phase, is requirements management. This wheel gives our hypothetical organization a repeatable, powerful way to build and manage their enterprise architecture. Now, for beginners, there is a harsh but kind of liberating truth you have to accept. That very first execution of the AAM cycle, yeah, it's going to be the hardest. Why? Because your reusable assets are incredibly scarce. You are literally pouring the foundation. But as our organization adopts this incrementally, they start filling up their architecture repository with models and patterns. And because of that incremental adoption strategy, subsequent cycles become drastically easier. You aren't reinventing the wheel every single time, you're just refining it.
Moving right along to Act 2, customizing for your enterprise. Because to accelerate their project, our organization quickly figures out they really shouldn't be starting from absolute zero. Before we start grabbing extra resources, it's absolutely crucial to remember that the core TOGAF standard itself is divided into 6 independent documents. You got the introduction, the ADM guidelines and techniques, the architecture content framework, the enterprise continuum and tools, and finally, the architecture capability framework. But here is a massive pro tip for you. Pair those core documents with the TOGAF library. This external repository is packed with guidelines, templates, and reference materials. Instead of cluttering up that core ADM process with overwhelming nitty-gritty details, the standard keeps the specific white papers and industry guidelines neatly tucked away in the library. Our organization uses these external assets as incredible accelerators for their project, saving them, honestly, countless hours of trial and error.
So how do they make the standard their own? Well, they merge existing frameworks with the ADM in 3 specific steps. First up, they review the ADM components to see what applies to their specific situation. Second, they tailor those components to perfectly match the enterprise's current maturity level. And third, they integrate them seamlessly with other models they might already have in play, like the Zachman framework or maybe specific US federal guidelines. The whole point is that the ADM is specifically designed to play nicely with others.
There is this brilliant principle at play here, which is the order of the phases in the ADM is to some extent dependent on the maturity of the architecture discipline within the enterprise. That flexibility is huge. It means that if our organization really prioritizes a rapid response to market changes, they might actually complete their technology architecture before they even finish their business architecture. The method bends to fit your business principles and agility needs, definitely not the other way around. Okay, Act 3, defining your architecture scope. Before anyone can actually start designing, our organization has to define its boundaries so they avoid catastrophic scope creep.
To do this, they break down the scoping process across 4 dimensions. It's a lot like adjusting the focus and zoom on a camera lens. First is breadth. What is the full extent of the enterprise we're actually covering? Second is depth. What level of detail is necessary here? Third is the time period. Are we looking at a target that's 6 years out? Are we focusing on much shorter transition architectures? And fourth, the specific architecture domains we are going to tackle.
Now, a completely comprehensive architecture is going to address 4 distinct domains: business strategy, data structures, application systems, and technology infrastructure. But keep in mind, our starting organization is facing real-world constraints: time, money, people. They simply cannot do it all at once, so they have to strategically choose where to focus first. If a fundamental business process just can't be changed right now, well, maybe they don't need a full-blown business architecture today. They tailor their scope to deliver immediate, tangible value to their stakeholders. Which brings us to Act 4, evaluating alternatives and trade-offs. This is the big decision-making phase, where the architects have to balance competing forces and sometimes uncover hidden agendas. To keep this totally objective, they use the architecture alternatives method. It's kind of like a funnel. They start at the very top with their overarching vision, principles, and requirements. They filter those down into specific criteria, and then use those criteria to rigorously test different alternative architectures. By laying it out clearly step by step, they can have really objective conversations with stakeholders, weigh all the inevitable trade-offs, and finally funnel the whole shebang down to one selected alternative target architecture.
And finally, Act 5, achieving full architecture integration. Let's take a look at the ultimate payoff for navigating these cycles, defining scope, and making those smart trade-offs.
In their fully integrated landscape, it is a thing of beauty. Capability-level initiatives seamlessly scale right up to segment and enterprise-level visions. And across all of this, the various architecture domains span from business all the way to technology. In this perfectly harmonized framework, all these different architectures coexist effortlessly. The enterprise is no longer this tangled mess of competing systems. It's a structured, cohesive environment where every single piece of the puzzle fits together perfectly.
For a new team, the benefits of populating that architecture repository over time are absolutely massive. They now get to enjoy highly scalable, reusable modules. Their governance is effective and fully standardized. And honestly, most importantly, they've established a continuous cyclical process. This means that when future market changes inevitably pop up, adapting to them isn't some monumental corporate crisis. It's literally just another well-oiled turn of the ADM wheel.
So that leaves us with a pretty critical question for you. Is your enterprise currently running on a smoothly harmonized architecture? Or is it more like a web of happy accidents? We've seen how taking an iterative, scoped approach can turn a really chaotic beginning into an incredible integrated success story. The ADM absolutely provides the roadmap, but you have to be the one to take that first step. Thanks so much for learning with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.